The good news is you all are pilots. The bad news is time flies. And we're going to land very soon, which means let's start dialing. Let's dial M, let's dial A, and let's dial U. U for you all, and you also for my subject called urology. Let's dial M. In mathematics, you all know 1 plus 1 is always going to be 2. In the branch of medicine, 1 plus 1 could be 2, could even be 11, which otherwise means that life and body have got vagaries. They've got those kind of understandings which actually change without our knowledge. Let's get into that. Let's understand how the passion has a purpose and how practice made you all so perfect. Friends, life is truly a jigsaw puzzle. It's a jigsaw puzzle which is waiting to happen because it's run with organs. These organs work alone. They also work in unison. When you look at the organs working in unison as non-stop machines, from the moment of your conception, as we move forward to maturity, and then we move forward to our graceful aging, changes do happen. But believe me, all of you are born normal, all of you are born as miracles. That means you've got all that which probably makes an organ completely a unison and a functional. If you don't believe that you're all marvels, then perhaps you've forgotten that you are one, and each of you are one soul. So as we move on this journey of dialing M, we're looking at missing organs, missing mysteries, and the miracles that happen on stage and miracles which happen in medical science around. It's all under a Hippocratic oath that we take as an oath when we start our medical career, and we take it forward. And that's what is the need of an hour. The need of an hour is an awareness and an awakening which we take forward in a short while from now. Friends, I know all of them very well. Anna, Meera, and Sana. They all are sophomores. They're waiting to take to better shows and a better career from here on. They're all 17 and each is as bright as a sprite. But what happens when they undergo a medical checkup at the age of 17? That is what happens. A lightning strikes which was probably not known to parents, not known to medical fraternity, and not known to anybody. Let's look at Anna. Anna is born with only one kidney, which is as common as 1 in 4,000 human beings across the world. Meera is born with a ballooned and a swollen kidney, which is because of an obstruction to the kidney before she was born. And that's as common as 1,000 to 1,500 live births. And what about Sana? Sana is 17 right now. She doesn't have a menstrual period for the last 5 years, where the younger sister has got the menstrual periods happening. What does it mean? She is born without organs. She is born without a uterus and without a vagina. And that is called as MRKH syndrome, Mayer-Rokitansky-Kuster-Hauser syndrome, where 1 in 5,000 girls across the world is born without these organs around. When I take this forward, and I understand that we need to look at medical awareness and the missing awareness that we look at, there are enigmas in medical science too, which means that on the left is solitary renal agenesis, a single kidney which is not formed as a result of the red mark. You have a ballooned kidney which is waiting to happen, which is a medical miracle as to whenever you pick up on the day of birth or at the age of 70 or at the age of 17 when she wants to leave the shows. Meera gets a robotic surgery called a pyeloplasty and her obstruction is cured. It could have been cured any time in her life. And then we come to Sana, who is as beautiful as any woman in the world. She has got all her secondary sexual characters. You can't define who she is. It's only a medical workup that showed that she has got all the hormones looking good, but she doesn't have 2 organs, the uterus and the vagina. And that's called as an MRKH syndrome, 1 in 5,000 women born without it. And what happened? At the age of 17, the story turned completely upside down for all these girls around, which means that on this performance stage, awareness to awakening, treatment to cure is all that makes it look much clearer and much more happening than the dream which was not there ever again. Which means that awareness and awakening is the key. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. A small seed would have mushroomed into a full tree. You could have the leaves, the flowers, and the fruits. The second best time is now. If we know about it today, probably we'll be better off tomorrow. So when we get into this awareness drive and we look at the health journey, we also know that the road less traveled of the kind of subjects we talk today from this important stage is about looking at missing mysteries and looking at the management miracles that happen under the Hippocratic oath by doctors across the world. In other words, you have got missing knowledge on the subject, including the medical fraternity misses out this. You have got missing organs in the body, which probably are entities or are diseases, or probably leaving you incomplete as a woman, as in case of Sana. And you have missed out diseases, which are missed out because you never complained. On the other side, you have got management miracles, where India lives in myth and misconceptions. We'll shatter that today in downstaging. We're looking at managing diseases medically, or by motivating, or probably by surgery. In other words, we want to bring treatment to cure. And I look at the entire aspect of our own growth and a medical slide, the design to destiny in steps, the chronology of sexual happening that happens to all of us. Let's look into the first 5 factors. On the very day we are born as zygote, we convert either to an XX or an XY. That means we become either a male or a female. And internally in the womb for the next 9 months, there's a change happening from the chromosomal sex to the gonads, to the internal genitalia, to the external genitalia, and then finally to the sex hormone pattern, where you develop your puberty, which could even be menarche for women and for boys. If anything goes wrong in any of these 5, what you're born with is abnormal genitalia. You probably have got an organ which is missing, an organ looks completely abnormal, and you can't blame anybody for that. It's just that changes happen within your body. The last 3 are very important. That's something quite deep internally and non-negotiable inside the body, which means if there's anything happening wrong in the pattern of behavioral center somewhere in the body, the kind of sex of assignment and rearing, and looking at the psychosexual differentiation, a lifelong phenomena of dimorphic happening, you could have something which is called as gender dysphoria. That means you don't believe this is your body. And in between all this, our medical vagaries, unfortunate missing organs and abnormalities, what doctors treat. Friends, when you look into this subject, let's look into human body one more time. The kind of organs given to us, the kidneys, the brain, the heart, the lungs, and then we look into the intestines and the liver, and then the urinary bladder, a very forgiving organ, which I'll come to. There are at least 4 organs in the body which work amazing. They work by contraction and relaxation. Let's look into these 4 organs. Heart. Contracts 72 times per minute to keep you in health. Imagine doesn't contract for a minute or 2. We are not there on the globe. We miss out this life completely. It's an amazing organ, which is the bandmaster of the entire orchestra. And then we move on to an organ called lungs. Contracts 14 times per minute. It gives you all the oxygen that you inhale, goes to the body, and you keep your health around. Look at the muscles, which contract on need. And they contract till the purpose is solved of those muscles which are moving around. And let's look at U for urology, U for urinary bladder, which is a very forgiving organ. Imagine it relaxes for close to 23 hours and 57 minutes every day in episodes. What does it mean? You and I are seated in this august audience today only because the bladder is a forgiving organ. Otherwise, like heart, if it would contract 70 times a minute, you would be in the washroom all your life. So it allows you to go and pass urine, and contracts only 3 minutes in episodes of 40, 30 seconds that you pass urine 5, 7 times a day, and allows you to probably be seated. So isn't body the best computer ever made, which grows from a seed as a zygote and matures and delivers functions to you all the time? Friends, very few topics evoke so much of anxiety and pain, so much of silence, and so much of dilemmas and discussions as inner possibilities of our bodies. We're thinking out of the box today of the body, and we're looking forward to making impossible to possible, treatable and curable of those diseases which we completely miss out, or probably is missed out by normal society, even by medical fraternity. Attempting to fill in a blank for somebody like Sana, who says, I am an incomplete woman, and what do? That's where a robotic urologist walks in. He probably creates a reconstruction, which is all about creating a missing organ. She doesn't menstruate, that's okay. But she is an incomplete woman without an organ, which gives her a vaginoplasty. That means a reconstruction shrouded out of secrecy transforms her into a complete woman. She can then be a partner to a man and probably take a surrogacy as a part of her life and probably move on in life rather than staying complete as picked up at the age of 17. So all good things take time. It probably took time to make you understand that a robotic reconstructive work which is happening in process at this point in time, that's the robot, that's the body out there, that's the assistant and the anesthetist, and then you move forward and see the surgeon sitting far away and doing an expert job, which is a precise job, quite dexterous enough with those hand movements, and looking at each movement translating into the robotic work, which translates back into the body, giving it that precision that you're aiming for. The surgeon is nowhere close to the body, he's 7 meters away. So that's robotic surgery today, which goes on to show that the kind of work we probably emanate, we move the changes that happens around, is all brought about by the artificial intelligence today, is brought about by the kind of work that we're taking forward. It's a great movement today that we are able to take this without cutting those large edges which we used to do. Before, bigger the surgeon, bigger the cut. Right now, it's all holes and keyholes across. As you move your fingers and you convert the entire thing into a practice, which actually transforms somebody's lives, either makes an organ or removes a disease organ kind of thing. So looking into this aspect of care, we move forward and understand that the human story is bigger than what we know. The human story is about organs and smooth function, about emotions, about passion and purpose, content and courage, and about development and later on decline, and looking forward to a decay. Which means there are aspects which we don't forget, which is sexuality of human body, the emotions. The body's organs do crosstalk, and there is so much of this happening with the body changing around. The onus is upon us at a youth conclave to look at our children and probably our youth, know that our parents, our teachers, our schools, our institutes take part in the sex education in a bigger way rather than just understanding the sexuality. Because what got us here will never get us there. Looking into the change which Helen Keller talked about, I'm again dialing a big U for urology, where the bend in a road is not the end of the road. Unless you fail to negotiate the turn, which you negotiate every day, you're masters in that. When I look at that, let me look at 5 important diseases quickly on my subject. Kidney stones are small concretions which form silently. When you sleep at night, don't want to drink water, the stones do aggregate, crystallize, and form small, small stones which grow and become bigger. One fine day, they can fall down the kidney through the narrow pipe which is made to pass urine and not the stone. And you get the flank pain, you get the discomfort, you get all aspects, which is quite an annoying thing at odd times in vacation or probably working around. So that's where a urologist walks in and helps you out. The bladder, which is such a forgiving organ, can be completely unforgiving. The disease called overactive bladder. Very inappropriate and a very involuntary, unpredictable contraction of the bladder just contracts. You just can't sit here. You've got to leave the stage and probably go and pass urine. This is going to translate into a lot of agony, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of expectations because there's a frequency, urgency, urge incontinence. It's a very silent phenomenon. Sadly, nobody complains about it. The liver diapers. Out here, the bladder is at fault, but not always. Look at women, exclusively a women's phenomena, where stress incontinence, not the stress here, but the stress of pelvic floor, which is gracefully aging. When you cough, run, jump, laugh, or even move around or bend, you leak urine. And that's a phenomenon which women go through. Let's treat them and give them laughter, the best medicine, because their pelvic floor is gradually changing from pregnancy to menopause and beyond. And then we look into this important aspect, completely not talked about. Getting up multiple times a night happens to my fathers and grandfathers. A child beyond 5 years will actually have bedwetting, which is something called as enuresis, which is treatable completely. Using these 2 important dates called the Sleep Day and the World Bedwetting Day, it was important to bring about a format where we look at health, where we wake up parents and institutes, where doctors wake up and take it forward. We also look into the aspect of awareness on a rare disease day. So there is a disease day called rare disease on the last day of February, where all the rare diseases are conglomerated. The awareness to that is brought about, that nothing is missed out, and we treat rare diseases too across the world. We look at No Tobacco Day, which again is important because tobacco is something which takes away life overall. It is something which needs to be taken away from children and protected from the aspects of care. When we look into the World Women's Day on 8th March every year, it's about empowering women because they undergo a change into their hormones and their rights. It's important to safeguard them completely. We now move from day to a week. And when we look at week, imagine a full week of awareness brought about because you don't speak about all this. Look at the awareness of week created for World Continence Week because urinary issues plague 10 to 43% of individuals across the world. And if that happens around, probably would continue leaking and living on diapers. Then we move from week to month, a month of awareness for all men in their mature years where a prostate undergoes a change. Men actually would be getting blocked, the urine flow would get poor. Many of them would land with cancer prostate. The whole month of September, we looked at Prostate Health Awareness Day. Friends, when we come to a close, we know that there are some myths in society which I need to bust today to take it forward to the highest possible level. They say kidney is not affected by diabetes and by blood pressure, but that's not right. The number of years of diabetes, number of years of blood pressure, and number of uncontrolled situations, the kidney is the commonest organ affected, which brings about an end-stage kidney disease. They say smoking does not affect kidneys, which is not true. Smoking affects multiple organs. It can actually affect your stomach, your nasopharynx, your lungs, and give you cancers of all these organs around. That's a sad story, and therefore, smoking risks everybody all his life. Tobacco should be a no-no completely. Bleeding in urine happens because we are actually in summer season or drinking less water. That's not true. Bleeding in urine is never normal. Take it to a logical conclusion, which goes on to show that it's an ominous sign. It could either be a cancer or a stone or probably an infection, which is too severe, or a blood thinner that people take. They also say that male and female urinary tracts are similar. Not true at all. Male have got a common organ housing the urinary and sexual passages, whereas females have got separate organs for urinary and sexual passage as friendly neighborhoods, and that's why women develop more urinary infection compared to men. Childhood bedwetting is cured spontaneously is what they all say. The parents do say so. That's also not true. Why? Because many of the bedwettings probably will go to adolescence and adulthood. So it's time for a urologist and a pediatrician to take charge. Parents to take charge and complain about their children. Kidney stones form because of eating seedy vegetables and fruits. Not true, please. Seeds don't come through the urinary passage. It's important for us to understand that desaturation of urine is required. You've got to keep the urinary environment much more desaturated and much more better than what you actually do when you drink less water. So friends, when I come to this kind of a myth, we look forward to the last part of the whole story, which means donating one kidney is going to endanger my life. That's not true. That's never true. And that's the basis of Anna. When I look at Anna and understand it, medicine has gone a long way, but end stage of life, end stage of diseases, end stage of organs will never go away. At the same time, there are organ shortages all across, which is all about transplantation. That means somebody's organ, which is good enough, is transplanted to somebody else's body. If that happens around, we probably get a gift of life, which is what we give to somebody. In other words, if 60 people undergo kidney transplant every day, 20 die because of scarcity of organs. Anna is one, not a patient. She's just born with a single kidney. The good news is she will live her life all through without a trouble. The bad news is she has a precious kidney. She can't donate to somebody, to her parents, or to anybody in walk of life if she has to donate one. In other words, we all need to recycle our life, need to look at saving ourselves and saving our family. As I come to a close on the last few slides, is about life, which I talked about. The life has to be moved on. We may leave our body and probably go up, but life is something which can be passed on. I come to this poetry to bring it to a close in terms of, at a certain moment, a doctor would decide that my brain has ceased to function, and that for all intents and purposes, what my life has stopped. What happens, don't call me as a deathbed, call it as a bed of life. In other words, let my body be used by others to lead a fuller life. In words, give my body blood to a teenager, who has been pulled from a wreckage of a car so that he can grow, he can live to see his grandchildren play. Give my eyes to a man who has never seen sunrise, a baby's face, or love in the eyes of a woman. Give my kidneys to somebody who depends on a machine week after week to exist, not to live. And give my heart to a person whose own heart has caused nothing but days of pain, endless pain. Explore every part of my brain, take my cells, and let them grow so that someday a speechless boy will probably shout at the crack of a bat, and a deaf girl can hear the sound of rain against a window. Take my bones, every muscle, every fiber, every nerve from my body, and find a way to get this child who is crippled to get it walk. What is left over of me, scatter it to the ashes, and probably that goes on, and let the flowers grow. If you must bury something, bury my faults, my prejudices, and my weaknesses against my fellow man. Friends, if that is what a doctor would do to a brain-dead patient who is on a ventilator, give my sins to a devil and give my soul to a God. If you do what I asked, doctor, because I'm brain-dead, I don't have anything to do, but my organs can go to everybody, I probably will live forever. So if this is what it is important for us to take the awareness to the next level. It's a need today, a management is truly a dream that I need to take it forward, and implementation is always a challenge. Time to bring health to the front row seat, not to leave it at the back only when an emergency happens, because human body is the best computer ever made. Kindly salvage and safeguard it, because every life matters. Thank you again.